Let's look into some key aspects of double entries related to cash book. The contents covered: payment to trade payable and payment from trade receivable. So the content that's been covered in this session: payment to trade payables having deducted cash discount, payment to trade payable to be deducted cash discount, payment by trade receivables having deducted cash discount, and payment by trade receivables to deduct cash discount. Now let's go in detail. Payment to trade payables having deducted cash discount. Now this is a tricky transaction. On 10th of Jan 2022, paid $490 to Limson Limited by bank transfer, having deducted 2% cash discount. Remember, in this transaction, $490 is the amount after the deduction of the discount. So let's have an understanding of who is Limson in this transaction. So Limson is a trade payable because you are liable to pay to Limson. How much did you pay Limson? So the amount you paid to Limson was $490. Identify the type of cash discount. Is it discount allowed or discount received? So here you're receiving a discount from Limson. Therefore, it's discount received. How much do you owe Limson before discount? Calculate and show the workings. How do we calculate this? Remember, $490 is 98% and 2% is the cash discount which you had received from Limson. So if you're asked to calculate the workings, $490 is 90% of it. Therefore, 490 divided by 98 into 100 should give you the answer of 500. So 500 is the total amount that you owe to Limson. Since you got a 2% cash discount, you are paying only 490. How much is the total discount received? Let's do the working for this. There are two ways you can show this working. Total amount due is 500. You paid 490. Therefore, the difference can be considered as discount received figure. Or calculate 2% of 500, which should give you $10. How much are you liable to pay Limson? So, after the discount, you're liable to pay only $490 to Limson. Now, how do we show the transaction in a cash book? Since it's a payment, you should be entering the transaction on the credit side of your cash book. Enter the date. To whom you pay for is Trade Payable Limson Limited. How much discount you received was 10. And you're making the payment by check, by bank transfer. Therefore, you enter it in the bank. Now let's observe another example of a transaction. Payment to trade payable to be deducted cash discount. So here you're going to deduct the cash discount. 15th Jan 22, bought goods on credit 500 from Helen, who offers 2% cash discount for payments. 16th, you paid a check for the goods purchased from Helen on 15th Jan after deducting the cash discount. Who is Helen in this question? Helen is a trade payable because you are liable to pay Helen. How much did you pay Helen? As per the question, you need to calculate the amount that you paid to Helen. 500 is the total amount due. You get 2% cash discount. Therefore, 500 into 2% gives you 10. 500 take away 10 gives you 490. So you're liable to pay Helen 490. What is the type of cash discount? It's discount received. How much do you owe to Helen before the discount? So before the discount, you owe to pay 500. But now you got a discount of 2%. You received a discount. How much is the total discount received? You can use two methods to calculate it. You owe 500. Find 2% of it, 2 over 100, which gives you $10. Or you can take the difference between 500 and the total amount that you paid to Helen. The difference between 500 and 490 should give you $10. How much are you liable to pay now? You're liable to pay only $490 because you received $10 of discount. Now let's see how to show this entry in a 3-column cash book. Since it's a payment, you should enter it on the credit side. First of all, you indicate the date, followed by description to whom you paid, the amount of discount you received, which is $10, and you're making the payment by check, therefore enter it in the bank column. Now let's move to the next category, which is payment by trade receivables. You're receiving payments from your credit customers. Let's look at the first transaction, 18th. Mary paid $285 by cash, having deducted 5% cash discount. So remember, this $285 is 95%. 5% is your discount. Who is Mary? Mary is your trade receivable. How much did Mary pay? $285. Identify the type of cash discount. It's a credit customer, you allow discount, therefore discount allowed. How much does Mary owe before discount? Calculate and show workings. So this 285 is 95%. Therefore, let's calculate the working. 285 divided by 95 multiplied by 100. So actually Mary owes to pay you 300. How much is the total discount allowed? To show your workings. Two methods you could use. Take the difference between the total amount Mary is liable to pay you and the amount she paid you after discount. Or find 5% of the total amount due by Mary, which should be 15. How much would Mary pay you after discount? It's $285. So here you're receiving a payment from a trade receivable. So the entry in the cash book is different compared to what you did before. So remember, you enter the information in the debit side, detail, trade receivable Mary. You allowed discount of 15 and the payment is received by cash, therefore $285 in the cash column. Now let's move to the next entry. Payment by trade receivables. Here you're supposed to deduct the cash discount. 28. Armin paid by check for the due amount 200 after 5% cash discount. So who is Armin here? It's a trade receivable. How much did Armin pay you? You have to find that amount. 200 take away 200 into 5%, that is 5 over 100. So the difference between 210 gives you 190. Or you can find 90% of 200, which gives you 190. 5% is the discount. Identify the type of cash discount. So according to this question, it's discount allowed. How much does Armin owe before the discount? It's already given in the transaction, which is $200. How much is the total discount allowed? So there are two ways that you can calculate. take the difference between 200 and 190, which is 10, or find 5% of 200, which is $10. How much would Armen pay after cash discount? It's $190. So here also you're receiving the payment from your trade receivable. Therefore, you would enter this transaction on the debit side, enter the date, followed by you're receiving it from trade receivable Armen, include the amount of discount that you calculated, which is 10, and you're receiving the payment through check. Therefore, you debit bank by 190. Now, the next most important part in cash book is contra entry. Contra entry could only occur during two particular transactions. One, deposit business cash to business bank account. Your cash value reduces, bank value increases. Second, withdraw cash from business bank account for office use. Bank value drops, cash value increases. Now let's see how to show the impact of the first transaction, where you're depositing your business cash to the business bank account. So you should increase your bank value. In order to increase the bank value, you enter it on the debit side. Opposite account's name is cash, and the amount mentioned in this particular transaction is 100. You should reduce your cash value. Therefore, you enter the date. Opposite account's name is bank, followed by the amount, which is 100. So how are you going to show this impact in a cash book? First of all, your bank value is increasing. Go to your cash book, enter the date. Go to your bank column, enter the amount. And the opposite account's name is cash, within brackets contra. Move to the credit side. You should reduce the value of your cash. Therefore, credit cash by 100. And the opposite account's name should be bank, and you write contra entry there. So basically, you debit the bank column in order to increase the bank value. You credit the cash column in order to decrease the cash value. Next transaction. You're withdrawing cash from your business bank account for office use. So you increase the cash value and you decrease the bank value. Therefore, in your cash ledger, you enter it on the debit side. Opposite account's name followed by the amount. Then you enter it in the bank on the credit side because it will reduce the value. Therefore, you write the date, opposite account's name cash, and the amount. So, how are we going to show this impact in a 3-column cash book? You should increase the value of cash. Therefore, debit cash followed by the date, followed by the opposite account's name, which is bank contra. You're reducing the bank, therefore credit the bank column. Enter the date and opposite account's name as cash contra. Next, balancing a cash book. These are the main rules that you need to consider prior to balancing a cash book. Write the total of discount allowed in the total of debit side. Balance carried down, brought down is excluded for discount allowed. Write the total of discount received in the total of credit side. Balance carried down, brought down, excluded for discount received as well. So let's go one by one. Next, you balance the cash column and then you balance the bank column. So let's go in detail. First of all, we are going to complete rule 1 and 2. Let's total the discount allowed column. On the debit side, you get 10 plus 5, which is 15. And on the credit side, discount received gives a total of 22. That's it you do for the discount columns. There isn't a requirement to write balance carried down or brought down for discount allowed column on the debit side, as well as discount received column on the credit side. Next step, balancing the cash column. Take the additions of the cash column debit side and take the additions of the cash column credit side. Write the greater side addition in the total column. Take the difference between total figure and the lesser number side. Write the difference in this order: end of month date, balance carried down, amount. Transfer to the opposite side below the total: end of month date, balance brought down, amount. Now let's follow these rules. This is a 3-column cash book, and look at the information which are in red. We are balancing the cash columns only. As you can see, the total of the debit side is 890 and the total of the credit side of the cash column is only 8. As you can see, the debit side is greater than the credit side by 882. So take the total of the debit, enter it on credit side. Now from 890, you deduct the total of the credit side, which gives you 882. End of month date, balance carried down. It's not yet over. Now you go to the credit side. The next date would be 1st of Feb 22, balance brought down, and the same amount you wrote for carried down should be written for brought down as well in the cash column. To summarize, debit side total is 890. Credit side total is 8. Debit side is greater than the credit side by 882. 890 take away total of 8. Therefore, you write balance carried down on the credit side. Write the amount in the cash column. Balance brought down on the debit side the next date as balance brought down 882. So this is how you balance the cash column of a 3-column cash book. Now let's move on to balance the bank column. Let's look into the steps. Take the addition of the bank column debit side and take the addition of the bank column credit side. Write the greater side addition in the total column. Take the difference between total figure and the lesser number side. Write the difference in this order: end of month date, balance carried down, amount. Transfer to the opposite side below the total: end of month date, balance brought down, followed by the amount. Now let's see how to practically implement this in balancing our 3-column cash book. Now let's find the total of the debit side. The total of the debit side of the bank column is giving you 85, whereas the credit side total is around 5,280. 5,000 plus 80 plus 200. Next step, your credit side is greater. Bring it to the total. Enter it over here. Now take the difference between the credit side and the total of the debit side of the bank column. So you have only one value here, which is 85. So 5,280 take away 85 should give you 5,195. Enter the end of month date, balance carried down. Take it all the way to the opposite side. The next date would be 1st of Feb 20. Balance brought down, and enter the amount in the bank column on the credit side. Right. Now let's see another practice question for balancing a 3-column cash book. First step is to balance the discount columns. Here you have 15 and here you have 22. That's it, you do. Now let's find the total of the cash columns. As you can observe here, the debit side is greater than the credit side in the cash column. Let's take the total of the debit side. It's giving you 150 plus 300 plus 190 plus 200. 840. So let's write 840 over here and then 840 over here. The total of the credit side is only 10. 840 take away 10 gives you 830. End of month date 31st of Jan 20. Balance carried down. Go all the way to the opposite side below the total. 1st of Feb 20. Balance brought down and write the value in the cash column 830. So we are done with balancing the cash column. Now let's add up the bank columns. As you can see here, your credit side of the bank column is greater. So let's take the addition of the credit side. So it's 3000 plus 80 plus 200 gives you 3280. So let's write 3280 over here as well as 3280 over here. Find the difference between 3280 and the total of the debit side, which is only 95 over here. So it's 3185. End of the month date, balance carried down, go all the way to the opposite side, 1st of Feb 20, balance brought down and enter the amount in the bank column 3185. So far we had looked into how to show the entries of payments received from trade payables along with discount received, payments received from trade receivables along with posting entries for discount allowed, how to show the impact of contra entries, withdrawing cash from the business bank account for office use or depositing business cash into the business bank account. Lastly, we have seen how to balance a 3-column cash book.